everyone, I'm Joey the Veiled Cottage Witch, and this is another episode of my magical plant series. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to talk about Slippery Elm, which I've discovered that not a whole lot of people know about. But this is such an amazing plant. It is Ulmus fulva in the scientific name. And what I find so fascinating about this plant, this is the bark right here, just a little something something. It actually smells like maple and brown sugar instant oatmeal, which is my favorite. Oh my gosh, now I'm hungry. I love that smell. So the folk names of this unusual tree, leaf, plant is red elm, Indian elm, moose elm, soft elm, and gray elm, which are really just descriptors for this awesome plant. Now, the name origin is the scientific, at least, origin is Ulmus rubra, for sometimes Ulmus fulva, and its folk name comes from its inner bark, which becomes slimy or slippery when wet. I loved that album by Bon Jovi, didn't everybody? Forming a soothing mucilage used by Native Americans and settlers for throat, stomach, and wound care. Now, the name rubra means red, referring to the heartwood, and ulmus is an ancient word for elm. So we've got Ulmus fulva and Ulmus rubra. So either way, it's a slippery, moist, slimy kind of wood, which comes from its mucilage. And it's so, so good for you. So today we're going to dive into that slippery elm and learn all kinds of folklore, medicinal, and magical uses for it. So if that sounds good to you, stick around. You just might learn something new. So diving into the folklore, in Greek mythology, the hero Orpheus rescued his beloved wife Eurydice from the underworld by enchanting everyone there with his harp music. He then paused to play his wife a love song, at which spot the first elm grove was said to have sprung up. So this comes from love. Isn't that beautiful? And in Celtic mythology too, elm trees were associated again with the underworld. They had a specific affinity with elves who guarded the burial mounds, their dead, and the associated passage into the underworld. Wouldn't it be cool if there was like a slippery slide to the underworld? That just sounds fun. I just wish that was a thing. Like you rode this slippery slide from the slippery elm right into the underworld. That would be so fun. I don't know. Makes sense to me. Now, elm trees in Britain can grow to become some of the tallest and largest native trees. Now, like the oak, they often had very specific customs and folklore attached to individually named trees. Now, charming examples include the tenor, bass, and alto elms on Humberside, or the dancing elms of Devon, around which May Day dances were held. These trees have all sadly succumbed to Dutch elm disease. So sad. The elm's wood bends well or distorts easily depending on which way you look at the situation. And indeed, the witch in wych elm refers to its wood being pliant and not to witches who were said to shun elm trees. This characteristics made the wood largely unsuitable as a building material, nor does it make a good fuel. You can't burn witches with elm trees. Just doesn't work. However, like alder wood, elm wood withstands wet conditions very well, probably because of all the mucilage, right? This meant it was a popular choice for the building of boat and barge hulls, bridge foundations, and cartwheels. Like Scots pine, hollowed out elm was used to make urban water pipes before the introduction of metal ones. Who knew? Its pliancy was also put to use in a variety of ways. In Scotland, the stick used to play shinty, called a cayman, can be made from a number of woods. Elm was often a favored choice, as it is often a natural bend already in the wood. Failing that, it could easily be heated, bent, and set to the required shape. Medieval Welsh archers made their longbows from elm wood, whereas English bowmen preferred yew, which I don't know why. Yew is like poisonous to the touch, so you couldn't really touch it to bend it very well. It's interesting to note that both the yews and the elms mythology is bound up with death and the transition into the underworld, and that both woods were used to such deadly effect in medieval warfare. Elm's connection with death does not end there, as its wood is traditionally used to make coffins. The wood's durability underground may have played a part in this choice. Perhaps people who knew elms well were reminded of their own mortality when remembering the elm's reputation for dropping large boughs without warning on otherwise still warm days. This led to the old saying, "Elm hateth man and waiteth." That's ominous. Now, in Scotland, wych elm is the more common species of elm, and in Gaelic it is known as leman, as in loch leven in Kinross, and it was valued for its roles in the dyeing of wool. Intermittent colors in woolen yarns, by which a weaver could more easily create a pattern in the weave, could be introduced by way of an early form of tie-dyeing. Who knew? Twine made from the inner bark of the elm, tied tightly at regular intervals to form hanks of the yarn, was used to stop a dye from reaching the wool. A yellow dye could also be derived from the elm, and the leaves were fed to livestock when other fodder was scarce. In spite of elm's association with death and the underworld, people often look to this tree for medicinal cures. The inner bark was chewed or boiled into a liquor to treat colds and sore throats, while the boiled bark was also used to treat burns. When the almond leaf is as big as a mouse's ear, then sow barley, never fear. Part of a rural planting verse. I will never remember that. The use of slippery elm bark helped spitball pitchers, this was cool, facilitate unnatural movement of a ball. Among the most recognized and successful users of slippery elm bark were Hall of Fame hurlers Ed Walsh and Burley Grimes. They would just put that slippery elm bark on that spitball and just pitch it, and it would just move a certain way. And man, they'd throw off those hitters and get them every time. I think that's cool. All right, on to medicinal uses. Now, slippery elm was soothing to sore throats and coughs. Digestive uses like diarrhea, constipation, and inflammatory bowel disease, thanks to its mucilage content that coats and protects the mouth, throat, and digestive tract. So, I mean, it just made everything go smoother. It was used topically as a poultice for skin conditions, wounds, and burns. And while historically used for many ailments, human research is limited, and it's important to consult a doctor before use. I guarantee you, though, the doctor has no idea what slippery elm is. I guarantee it, you guys. All right. Magical uses. The element is air. The energy is receptive. The planet is Mars. And the day of the week is Tuesday. Yay, I'm filming on Tuesday. I finally got one right. Yay. All right. So magically, this is where slippery elm shines, you guys. It's used to ward off negativity such as gossip, slander, and backstabbing. It's carried or placed in spell work to protect one's name and reputation. The herb is linked to both physical and spiritual healing, and it's used to soothe and restore, helping with emotional wounds and promoting recovery. In spiritual contexts, it's believed to foster inner healing and balance. Slippery elm is valued for strengthening communication, making it useful for public speaking or moments that require clear and confident words. It can also help in the persuasive use of words and in revealing truth. So it's a good truth teller. The energetic properties of slippery elm are thought to resonate with the root chakra, promoting a sense of stability and grounding and fostering a deeper connection to the earth. In some folklore, elm trees are associated with the underworld, again, suggesting a connection to unseen realms. So burn a little of that incense when going into a trance. Carry the bark as a charm or amulet for ongoing protection against gossip. Incorporate it into spells and rituals for protection, healing, and communication enhancement. Burning slippery elm as incense is used to enhance its healing properties and clear negative energy from a space. Create sachets to carry, which can be placed in a bag or pocket for personal protection. Now, personal uses. I only use this one way, you guys. One way. Freezers and jar spells. Why? To stop a slippery tongue. If people won't stop their bad mouthing, or they won't, if they're just talking too much and saying things that necessarily I don't want them to say, or they're giving away secrets or slander, or they won't shut up. And I want them to do this. I will put their name in a little Ziploc bag with some water and a little bit of Slippery Elm, and then I will put them in a freezer or in a jar. Freezer spells are my jam. So I'm more likely to do a freezer spell than I am a jar spell, but you could do a little Slippery Elm with their name on it and maybe pour a little honey in there to sweeten the deal. But I've had the best results with freezer spells. Just their name, water, a little bit of Slippery Elm. Done. So there wasn't a lot, but I hope I gave you guys a little bit of information about Slippery Elm. It's not a very common herb, but it's a very powerful one for healing and magic that I hope you guys can use. So please give this video a like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss the next one. And visit my website at theveiledcottagewitch.com, where you can sign up for a class, a service, a reading, sign up for workshops. You can also shop my store, where you can find holistic healing products and my ritual and spell aids. Just remember to, at checkout, punch in the code word, all caps veiled, to get your free shipping. That's my gift from me to you. So don't forget to do that. If you'd like to tip me, there are several ways down in the description box, but that's not necessary. Just live your best life and live for yourself. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.